Morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, cool. Everything's working on my end. Yeah, thanks for doing this showtime. Appreciate it. We're just gonna go over each matchup and then talk about some of your thoughts and opinions about Katowice. And first of all, I'd like to ask you your overall opinion about the patch and the maps.
Well, the patch, I don't know, it doesn't change too much. I think the patch, it's like from a Protoss perspective, it's like PvT and PvC both get a bit harder, I would say, because like Disruptor, it's a pretty noticeable nerf, and the battery as well, and the buffs are like not really that noticeable, I think. So it's just like in both matchup gets a bit harder, especially if you play Disruptor. And when it comes to the maps, I think I kind of like the maps actually. They have a lot of airspace around the bases, which is pretty nice for oracles, especially in PvC. And I don't know, they don't feel that bad. Although I would also say they are probably worse for Protoss than the last one, especially against Zerg. Because like we had Stargazers and Moon Dance, which are just insane for Protoss, and also Data Sea. I don't think there's any map that's really like super good for Protoss in the map pool, comparable to like Moon Dance and Stargazers. So it's probably a bit worse, but I kind of like the map anyway.
Okay, cool. Good to know. I think Lambo said that he thought there were some good Protoss maps, and Straya said, yeah, he thinks that they're more Zerg, I think, but seems like you're okay with them. Let's start off with some PvP, actually.
Okay.
Because I know there's at least one specific thing I'm supposed to ask you. Here it is. Hero vs. Max Packs. Can you guys get on North America? And then just join the ESL channel, I guess.
Okay.
Can't see anyone on friends list.
Alright, I'm in ESL.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see you.
Wait, I'm on the wrong server, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I thought I switched to NA, but I switched to Europe again.
By the way,
no.
showtime. The waits arrived.
You know, I'm gonna be honest, Ravi, I'm not sure I'm gonna put it off.
Oh, come on, man. I ordered them.
I'm too shy for that.
Fine.
At least a Katowice. Maybe, like, you know, maybe at a home story cover, so I could do it. But I think I might be a bit too shy for that for a Katowice. We'll see, we'll see.
Okay. I'll bring them in case you change your mind.
Oh my god, the new patch broke all the replays. Oh my god.
Yeah.
No.
Ah, god. Okay. Alright, we're gonna have to do the, I'm gonna have to leave party, and then... So unfortunate. And then, screen share with you guys. So that's awesome. That's cool. All of them. Okay.
Would it be easier to drop the replays and then we can all watch them?
That is possible. Yeah.
It depends on kind of how you want to go over them.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, it's unideal either way. What do you think, Showtime?
Yeah, we can do with replays.
Okay. Let me go in and find them.
Thankfully, the show and folder button exists.
Yeah.
I guess while she's getting that done, I was kind of curious. Do you feel like the new maps have encouraged any kind of particular playstyles in like PvZ? Or is it kind of just the same as like what the meta was already developing with and patch affected it more?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, I think in general you just do the same as before the patch and before the maps. Like the only difference I noticed is some of the maps are really good for swarm host. So If you don't play open blink, then Reina has been doing Swarmers a little bit against me. That's like one thing that wasn't really happening too much on the old map pool. But other than that, it's kind of just the same, you know, like Ravager Bane from Zerg and Protoss doing Blink or whatever, Stellar Dark and stuff.
Yeah. I was very curious because it seems like all the maps, like every map has a really big main base, and I was curious if that affected anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's good for 4-gate Blink in PvT.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. I will look into what PvT we'll watch after we do stuff, but game 1 through 5 is the PvPs, and then the next batch is the PvZs. To look at. So I'll go into game number 1 first. Max Packs versus Hero, I think. Yeah. And Royal Blood. Okay. This also sucks because it's going to be asking us to reload and then have to log in again. Oh,
yeah.
God.
It's so annoying, actually.
It really is. It really is. Timing did not work out in my favor.
Sadly, that's not something people can fix in the editor.
Well, I mean, just let me know when you have it open, I guess.
I'm loaded in.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna fast forward times 2 at least. So first, you know, what are your thoughts on Royal Blood for PvP?
I think it's just normal map, honestly. Like, you just open 2-gate usually. There isn't really anything special about it. You probably check the triangle base, you don't get blinked to the main base because that's pretty annoying. Other than that, it's really just a very normal macro map.
Okay. Harsum was talking today about how he thinks that Max Pax's style in particular has been really nerfed.
Yeah.
Do you think that the 1-gate is going to be viable on the new maps?
Well, I think it's viable on maps with a ramp, but I don't think it's viable on like non-ramp maps. Like even on the old patch, and I don't think it was super viable. Like, you have to gamble a little bit, because the problem with like 1-gate on non-ramp maps is just that either you defend like a 4-gate or you defend the blink all-in, but you can't really know which one it is. So like against blink all-in you want the quicker robo, and against the 4-gate you just want voyages, maybe cannons even. And you have to kind of gamble on what you defend. I don't know exactly how MaxPax figures it out, but he dies to like one of those pretty often as well, so yeah, after the patch it's even worse, especially 4-gate is way stronger, I think.
Okay. He also mentioned that Scaleless has been developing something new against 1-gate expands. Do you know what that is?
I'm not sure. I mean, I watched him play against MaxPax yesterday, and he was doing just a 4-gate. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe it's that. I don't know.
Okay. And then I think it'll be in the next replay, but I'm not sure. Specifically, we were talking to Estrella, and he mentioned how he doesn't really like the triple sentry openers, that he'd rather just get a Stargate. But he noted you as someone who still likes triple sentry openers. So what are your opinions on that? Why do you still go triple sentry?
Well, if you play Stargate every game, you're just going to die to all-ins every game. So that's kind of the issue. Like, the thing about PvP is that like a triple sentry opening is simply safe. Like, you can defend any all-in, and you kind of get into decent positions. Like, against Stargate, you're always behind, though. Like, Stargate is, in a macro game, by far the best opening. And on these maps, it's even more extreme because there's so much airspace. So, like, I really hate playing against Stargate on these maps in PvP, so I think it's overall better to play Stargate. It's just, it's a bit risky, so you have to, like, you can't do it every single game, I think.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And then obviously this game went into proxy Stargates against Stargate. I attempted 1-gate expand, actually. And then the Adepts don't do a lot to begin with, but then they eventually do. So, any notes so far on a game like this?
Well, it's like the opening, in theory, is pretty bad for Hero. But it works out because there's no low ground wall. But like, usually MaxPax has like a low ground wall, but maybe he stopped doing that recently. So then Adepts kind of become really annoying because you don't have a lot of units. And then the proxy Stargate as well, he had no pylon near the base.
Yeah.
Because I think on this map, if you put the pylon on the ramp, you can't actually put any batteries on the low ground, so you need a second pylon on the low ground. Or I guess you could put the pylon on the other side of the ramp, then it would work. But yeah, like he couldn't make a battery in the window line, so he kind of got dragged by the Oracle as well.
Oh,
I don't know, it's kind of like Hero was doing it blindly, I think, with the proxy Stargate and stuff, so he got a bit lucky, I think, that there was no low ground wall, because if you have a low ground wall, you just wall out the adepts, and Hero's opening is gonna be terrible.
Right, okay. It's an interesting note about the lack of shield battery on the low ground.
Yeah.
Big ramp.
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure you're right. I was testing cannon rush positions, and if you put the pylon on the other side, you have space for, I think, 2 batteries.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have to put it on the other side, then it will work.
Would you do that? Or is there a downside to that?
I mean, it's a bit awkward if you... Like, you don't have to walk around the whole wall then. Like, usually I prefer having the gap sort of leading into your base instead of, like, you know, away from the ramp a bit and stuff. But it's not really a big deal. I think it would probably work as well.
Okay. Cool. I don't know if anything else super interesting happens here. So PvP hasn't changed all that much on the new maps.
No, not really. I think it's more like you notice the battery overcharge quite a bit, I think. Like before that you could never engage into it, and like now I feel like if I'm ahead enough, I can kind of fight into it, even if I can't kill the battery immediately with like a blink forward or something. Like it feels a bit more engageable now, so if you're like ahead, it's easy to finish games, I think.
Has the map changed for you at all on when you decide to focus down the battery, if it's like in range versus units, or is it still just like if you can kill the battery, kill the battery?
Yeah, I think so. Like it heals so much that if you can kill it, you should always kill it. Even if you have to blink forward and it's a bit awkward position and stuff, but yeah, I think if you can kill it, you should kill it.
All right. This one seems to end in Hero's favor. Plus DTs do a bunch of damage. We can go into the next replay after a whole minute.
The worst part is like StarCraft 2 always crashes a little bit and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There's no new replays like at all, unless you've played today.
Well, I played a couple games against Cyril, but
Oh yeah.
didn't go too well.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to take a look at those, just like 1 or 2.
Yeah, sure.
Especially because they'll load fast. we'll do that when we get into PvZ. Just one more PvP. We don't have to go through like every single one. Right, I was logging back into StarCraft.
By the way, pro tip, if you exit out of StarCraft entirely, you won't have to log in again. Like, exit out entirely and then double click the replay.
Wait, what?
So, when you exit the replay and it sends you the login screen, just exit out instead. And then when you double click the replay in Windows, it won't make you log in again.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that one. Okay. And then Dragon Scales. Load.
Oh, there was the Phoenix against Phoenix, huh?
Oh, is it? You're already there.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that game was actually insane.
Okay. I'm finally in the game. So this is one of the maps where you can low ground one gateway.
Actually, I'm not sure you can.
Oh.
Because like I've played it. I mean, technically yes, but the main base is so insanely big that stuff like Proxy Robo 3 or 4 gate is super strong. Like I tried holding it, but it's just you can't really prevent them that easily from dropping in your main base. And then once they're in the main base, it feels impossible. Like this map, I'm not really sure if it's possible. I always died so far.
By the way, I just want to note, Hero never quite gets the wall off correct when new maps get introduced. He's like the slowest one to it. So he did it here. Max Pax did his correctly for a little bit.
Like it's pretty easy actually. Like a ramp is always the same wall. But his pylon is just off, so he couldn't make it all the way at the top, I think.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. But he did that on what is our last short map? What was that one?
Waterfall?
Yeah, he did it on Waterfall for like the first 3 weeks, honestly. He would mess up the wall. I was sort of surprised. I was like, if he keeps doing this, they're just gonna all in him every time.
Yeah, that's actually surprising.
It's amusing. I think it'll be fixed by Katowice, but maybe
Probably.
look for it. Anyways, yeah, Stargate. I mean, anything in particular about the early game? I mean, one thing I want to ask, and unfortunately it doesn't happen here, but I know you recently, deal with it with PvP. The shield battery pylon shenanigans in these low ground. I mean, what makes that work? What is supposed to work? What are you supposed to do against it?
It's something you do when the opponent cancels the zealot and gets the nexus down. It's like the early game in one gate is all about people trying to get a nexus down when they shouldn't. By for example, Hero for a long time he still does. He plays like one gas. He doesn't chrono boost the second time on the nexus, and then you have some extra mana, and you're pretty much just trying to get the probe low enough so they leave, and then you get the nexus down and can cancel the zealot. Now, if that happens, you're usually quite far behind as the opponent. And one thing we started doing, ages ago, is to then just put a pylon down and batteries, and you just send everything, and you hope something is going to do some damage. But it's not really supposed to work, I guess is the best way to put it. It's just like desperation, because you're like, okay, they put the nexus down, they're going to block my nexus forever. I have to make a zealot. I'm going to be so far behind, we're just going to do the battery stuff, and it's not easy to defend, but I think if you do it correctly, you should be able to defend.
All right, what do you do to defend?
It depends on which version exactly it is, but usually you try to get a full wall down. If you played one gas only yourself, you usually chrono boost a zealot. That deals with it very well. Chrono boost zealot does quick work of the building batteries and stuff. If you have like two gas, then there's different people defend it differently. Like personally, I like to. So they put the pylon in between the buildings, and I wall one side of it off with a Stargate, and then you kind of just want to make adepts because of they do more damage against zealots and stuff. Even if they get the batteries up, you deal a bit more damage and they get lower quicker. And the most important part is just not letting adepts get into your base. So you try to somehow get a full wall done. That's the most important, because if the adepts don't get in, then it's really not an issue. All
right. So I just got up to Hero building shield batteries on the offense.
Yeah, that's also, it's pretty unusual. I've seen it before, but it's very, very rare. And especially he was so far behind as well in this game because he got dragged by a single adept. He didn't wall in time, adept got in, he was so far behind, and then he does the, battery cannon, whatever he does. And he somehow gets in the he gets super far ahead. It's again, I don't think it should work really, because you don't have the Phoenix numbers to get that stuff up. If the opponent is just scouting for it with their Phoenix and just kills the probe, I think it doesn't do anything, but it seems very good if you get it up.
Yeah. I like that he built the Forge defensively too.
So your reaction to this would literally just be just double down on the Phoenix War more and take confidence that you should probably win it.
As the defender, or?
Yeah, as the defender, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's the problem is if you don't see it, and they come in with the Phoenix, you would think you can engage them, but then they fall back and get healed up, and then you're suddenly screwed. So I think if you see it, you can probably just do the same, right? You just put down batteries yourself. The problem would be you can't really take your third base, I guess, if he has the cannons in front of your natural. And if you contain the two base, you're gonna die eventually. So I don't know. I've never really played against it, but in my mind, if you see it, either to kill the probe quickly, and you should have more Phoenix on your side of the map always. And if it does get up, I'm not really sure. Probably just make batteries yourself. I think that's the only thing you can do. But I'm not sure how you would break out of the natural with the cannons.
Oh, that's a weird one. Well, how, are we experiencing less potential Stargate v Stargate stuff? With the lack of one gate expand opportunities, or is it still something that's happening?
Well, the Phoenix versus Phoenix happens less often now, yeah, for sure. Like, you still see Stargate versus Stargate a lot because it's simply the best opener, but if it's not one gate versus one gate, then neither side usually knows it's Stargate versus Stargate, so you don't see Phoenix versus Phoenix particularly often. It's just like a one gate expand thing.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm mesmerized by how weird this game is.
Oh yeah, it looks like a very weird game. Oh, we're gonna move into PvZ next. Just last questions for PvP. Really, just from your perspective, is there anything that we might be missing? Something that you have to be super high level to kind of catch. Is there anything that we don't pay attention to as commentators that you've picked up on? Anything like that?
I'm not sure. Not much comes to mind, really. I mean, there's probably a bunch of small stuff that never gets mentioned, but...
Sure.
Like, out of my head, I don't really know.
Okay. Well, then it's not terrible, so that's cool. Alright, so next is Hero vs. Dark. Best of 5 series, Game 1 on Royal Blood. Let me know when you're on it. You guys in?
Almost.
Loading it up.
Okay.
Alright, I'm in.
Actually, last question. So Max Pack obviously isn't going to Katowice, but Hero is. Is there anything in particular that you know about Hero's PvP that you're preparing for or anticipating?
Like, Hero is impossible to prepare for. It's just like... Okay. He plays like everything and he does like the most random stuff as well. It's just... I don't know. I feel like it's kind of why he's good. Like, I mean, he's very good in macro as well, but... Really the most difficult thing about Hero is just he plays the most random shit, really. Where you're like completely confused what's going on, and then he switches it up every game. Sometimes looks the same, but it's completely different. It's... I don't know. He completely mindfucks everyone.
Okay. You aren't facing him in the group, so...
Yeah, luckily.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about your group at the end. But PvZ... go ahead, Fear Dragon.
Oh, just go without me. I'll listen.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
I'm getting this error, so...
No worries. Okay, so PvZ on any of the Royal Blood, anything come to mind for this?
Well, the third base is pretty far away. Like, there are a couple of PvZ maps in this map pool where the third base is very, very far away. And I think this is one of them. So blocking is pretty good here. I think there's like 3 or 4 maps where the third base is very far away. So it's also like stuff like Clave, stuff like the Max Pax plays a lot is very good, I think, on those kind of maps.
Oh, okay.
It's also very wide open. Like the triangle base is so wide open when they kill the rocks. It's kind of a nightmare to defend. It's like this map is, I think, I don't know, I don't hate it, but it's a bit tough, I think.
Okay. So the Adept thing, Lambo said that there's probably be more Adept builds, pointing at some of the shorter maps, of course, but you are talking about how far away the third is. So then how far the Zerg army has to chase after you compared to your shades. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So you
would... just they lose more money when the third base is further away and stuff, because the drones have to transfer further and stuff.
So they're also less optimized than defend against it? Okay.
Like, for me personally, when I look at on what map I want to block the natural, I'll always look at, okay, how far away is the third base, if it's even worth it. Because some maps, it's so close anyway that I feel like Protoss loses more, for example. So it's not always worth it, I think.
Okay. Interesting. Well, Stargate here. You mentioned, I think, on stream that you're not really doing a whole lot of the Blink, hero stuff. So what changed there?
I feel like Zerg has got way better against it. Like the main reason why I don't play it much anymore is just Hydra Link Bane. It's like, as a Zerg, you just open Plasma Melee, and then if you see Blink Stalker style, you just go into Hydra Link Bane, and it's... Like, from my experience, it's impossible to defend really. Like a well-executed +2 Hydra Link Bane timing. So I'm not really sure. Like Hero, like he still plays Blink, but he never really faces Hydra Link Bane. Like Dark doesn't seem to play it, so I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I would really like to see like what Hero does against Hydra Link Bane specifically, but yeah, I haven't really seen any games.
Interesting. Do you think it's a regional thing then?
I mean, the Koreans play it as well, but like, maybe he has it figured out. I'm not sure.
Okay. His group's gonna have Cyril in it, so I guess you're gonna see it then.
He also doesn't play it much. Like Cyril, well, against me, he mostly plays like Ravager, Link Bane. He plays a lot of Lurker as well, especially against Disruptor playstyles. But yeah, he mostly aims for late game, I think. He doesn't do Hydra Link Bane much, if at all.
And Solar and DRG. I mean, we're gonna get plenty of experience seeing Hero. Easy. That's neat. And then Dark, who's not in your group, but do you have any descriptions of him? Do you have any notes about him?
Well, I played him like I don't remember what tournament it was, but I got like 2-0'd in 10 minutes or so, and he was just all-inning every game. He's I don't know. I feel like he's very dangerous because he does random stuff. Like he likes Nidus all-ins. He likes weird Link Bane all-ins, and he even brought back the Queen walks a bit.
Oh.
Like Cyril as well. Actually, they both do it. So
okay.
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he does that a bit. And of course, he's just also like very good in macro. But from the games I've seen between Hero and Dark, he usually loses the macro games though. So I'm not sure.
Okay. What do you think brought back the Queen walk?
Well, this map, for example, is not that long, especially with the triangle third base. Like I think I've seen on this map specifically a Dark do the Queen walk and kill Hero. Because like Hero's builds are insanely greedy, some of them. Because he plays like some double forge stuff, and I don't know, it's just, like you will never defend the Queen walk with double forge, Twilight, and you expand off of one gateway or whatever. It's just I think like Protoss have kind of been pushing it a bit probably with the greedy stuff. So I think it makes sense for Zergs to at least sometimes do it, even if it's not as strong anymore, of course.
Okay. In this game, he went into a lot of oracles. In this case, it seemed like he just wanted to bully Dark. I know sometimes he's done it while also like pressuring a lot, and then they kind of covers Blink Stalkers in some of his builds. But this one, 5+2, he went to 7 oracles.
Yeah, it's a pretty random build, I think, but
Okay.
like I think he might have been scared of the Queen walk, like not even joking, because if you make that many oracles, maybe he was hoping he would get attacked into. Like I've seen him do this against Elaser as well, I think, at Atlanta, where he makes a bunch of oracles and a couple of zealots and he just runs in and he tries to kill the queens. It looks, I don't know, it doesn't look amazing, but I guess if you get the queens, you have a lot of control over the map and stuff, but it's just, investing in that many oracles is, I don't know. It's just so expensive. I feel like you're not gonna be in a great spot if you don't do a lot of damage.
Oh, in this game he killed 11 drones, 7 links, and 6 queens.
Yeah, I guess it's not bad. Like if you kill all the queens, it's probably not bad.
Okay.
But it's still like all your tech is so late. I'm not really sure. Can't say I've played this opening.
You're right, sure. And then he's going into, it looks to be a mass round-based style. Charge Archon into Blink, and then Storm. Which, I don't know, is that really common? Double pumped Immortals. Is this a common composition? This seems a bit odd to me.
Yeah. I mean, Hero never goes air, I think. Like, he always plays ground, and either he wins or he loses. Like, I've never seen him really go carrier and play like a super late game. It is a bit random for sure. Like, I don't see Hero go Storm very often. I think he's more of a... Like, I think he likes Disruptor a bit more. Because it's easy to get into after playing like the Blink Stalker Zealot stuff. But yeah, it does look a bit random, and I think he just dies here as well to the Roach Hydra.
Yeah, he does. It seems like having Storm instead of Blink. Like, what? Why Blink in this game?
I feel like you always want to get Blink.
Okay.
Like if you go like charge, I still like to go Blink afterwards, even if it's even if you don't use it immediately. It can be nice against Mutas. It can be like sometimes you just want to warp in Stalker to fight a bit better than Zealots, and if you have Blink, it just helps a bit. So I don't know. It's not the most expensive upgrade, so I think it's always kind of worth getting.
Okay, fair enough. Seems like he could have optimized his build actually. Might have been able to have a Storm.
Yeah.
Anyways, and we'll move into game 2.
I can load this one.
Nice.
Oh, never mind.
Oh.
It crashed.
If they used the new overlay for the Oh no, this is actually from Korean Open Cup. You could open the ones from the Alpha X tournament.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Right. I'm in.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in now as well. So Babylon, EDZ, how's that going for you?
I'm not sure. It's I feel like it's insane for Swarm host. If you take the triangle base, you have like the Swarm host in front of the rocks. It seems a bit insane, and the other third base is kind of awkward to take as well, because there's just there's so much space in front of it, and I'm not really sure. Like the ramp bleeding down into it, and then the Nexus being so close, it makes for the positioning is a bit awkward. I feel like. But you have a shit ton of airspace as well, like behind the main base and then down to the natural. I'm not sure. Like I like it, but there's like some stuff that's annoying.
It's also a short map.
Yeah.
So, do we expect a depth abuse here?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think Hero especially, like he almost every game there's like adepts going everywhere. I feel like it's the only way you're gonna get damage done if you play like triple Oracle for example, because if you only have the Oracles doing stuff, it's almost impossible to do damage, I think, because they have like overlords area, they see where the Oracles come from, they just position the queens correctly. You need to like distract them with the adepts, and then the Oracles can usually find damage as well.
Okay.
I feel like if you only do one of those, like only the adept harass or only the Oracles, it rarely works against good Zergs.
We also talked about the Swarm hosts, Lambo and I, and that some of the new maps might be good for him. I know you had trouble versus Raynor, but then apparently the next time you guys played, you did fine.
Yeah.
What did you change to be fine against Swarm hosts?
You most, like against Swarm hosts, I feel like you have to realize it's not in. Like sort of all in. And when I played Raynor the first time, I was taking like a 4th base, and I was just playing too greedy. So when I played him again, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna sit on 3 bases, make a bunch of static defense, and then once your army gets big enough, the Swarm has become not super strong anymore. So I feel like for me, that's what I changed, just not taking a 4th base and putting down a shit ton of static defense.
Okay. Lambo kind of pointed to your build a little bit. Like, yeah, your greed as well, but the opener, he said, wasn't particularly good.
Against Swarm hosts? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the problem with Swarm hosts is, well, from the Zerg side, is just that you don't want to play Swarm hosts against Blink openings, which is, well, some people play only Blink openings, so it's kind of difficult to play that in general, I think. But if you know someone likes to play, I don't know, charge openings out Archon, or personally I like to play triple Oracle into Robo, then Swarmers are just pretty insane, because they, you have to be super careful about not dying to the first wave already.
This game is Blink into Double Forge.
Yeah, it's kind of what Hero does. Is he either plays super aggressive with Stalker, being Stalker with like one Forge or even no Forge at all, and then sometimes just double Forge where he plays super passive. Like I've tried playing like this, and it just doesn't work at all for me. Like I played against Lambo, for example, and Lambo would just make like 90 drones, go like Mars, Ling Muta, and you're just sitting there making Blink Stalker defensively. I don't know how it works. I guess it's just Hero being unpredictable, so he can switch it up, and people are not gonna blind counter him. Because I guess people are more likely to make like less drones against him, so they don't die, than to play super greedy.
Oh, I see.
But,
What you're
like,
saying. Yeah.
Like I find this playstyle very strange.
Yeah. Oh, that definitely could make sense. He's known as being quite the aggressive guy, and you not so much.
Yeah.
Something Claws is interesting.
that's also-
dark here.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that Tumbling Claws doesn't really make an appearance too often in this matchup.
Yeah, no. Sarah was playing it for a while against the 4-gas Hero style. But it's, it's not very common.
Okay.
It worked out pretty well though. 50
Yeah,
pokes killed and stuff.
it's working. So do you think that there is a very like a different meta for the Koreans kind of overall? I mean, I know you sit down to play versus someone, you're thinking about them independently, but in general, do you think that there is that change that happens between Korea and Europe?
Or PvZ? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like, I think the Koreans, they play like more aggressive, I feel like. It depends, I guess, who you compare it to. Like, I practice like a lot with Cyril, and Cyril is mostly just going for late game every game against me, and just, I don't know, sometimes mutas and stuff like this. Whereas when I watch Dark, he does like all sort of crazy shit, like Night Solins, I don't know, whatever this is here, like Roach, Mars Roach, and I think they just play more aggressive overall.
Right. Okay. Do you think that the Korean Protosses have trouble adjusting at all to the foreign Zergs?
I'm not sure, because I feel like the foreign Protoss, they mostly copy what the Koreans do.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not sure actually. Like I feel like against I mean, Korea doesn't really have anyone playing like Cyril, for example, or maybe even Draenor. Because like in Korea, it's what like Solar and Dark these days. I guess like DRG and stuff.
Yeah, and Ragnarok, yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like if they have trouble, then mostly with Cyril's playstyle.
Okay. And I mean, is there any reason, or is it just it's Cyril?
Yeah, just because he plays late game every game. Like almost no Zerg goes late game. Is that they always try to finish the game, I think.
Okay. Well, usually I'd move over to PvT, but I am interested in seeing at least one of your versus Cyril games. So, hop over to Europe for that.
Can I really quickly ask? I don't think I have a guess on what the answer will be on this, but have you been seeing any Zergs trying to make ultras in late game PvZ, or is it not really?
Well, not as a main composition, but they make it as like for like run buys and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like late game is pretty much like you have one army that's ultra late Ling Bane, something like that, and then you have your main army with Broodlords, Corrupt the Viper, Mass Boars, and whatnot.
Okay, yeah. So none of that's really changed then.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Let me see.
Fear Dragon, you on Europe?
Oh, right. We're going to games that are not there.
Yeah.
Sorry. I found a VOD of Chicken Man doing the other series.
Ah.
Honestly, the games weren't too great today, but I guess we can just watch any of them, really.
Okay. Your choice.
trying to remember what happened in the games, but I already forgot.
No
Well, let's see.
worries.
Maybe this one.
Okay. So Royal Blood, how you liking that map?
Well, I think it's one of the more difficult maps against Zerg.
Okay.
It's just like it's a bit too wide open for my liking.
Are there any maps for Protoss in any matchup where you're just like always veto?
I think altitude probably.
Okay.
Because they have the gold base with 8 patches, which is just completely busted always. It's like if they get that up, it just have so much eco, it doesn't feel good to play against. And the map is also like freaking massive. So it's hard to put any pressure on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing you have no real thoughts about the Zelnaga Watchtower thing.
I mean, I think it's a nice gimmick, but it doesn't matter too much, I guess.
Yeah.
So you didn't bother trying to block Cyril's natural?
No, like usually I block on this map, but I didn't do it this time. Actually, now I remember. It's like I've been doing like the opening I'm doing is like 2 double Chrono Boosted Adepts and triple Oracle, take a third base, and then usually I follow up with Robo. So like I wanted to try, instead of following up with Robo, playing Blink. Because I always watch like Hero play Blink, so I wanted to try it myself. And yeah, that's basically what happened this game.
Okay.
I think I died to Lurker eventually.
Using a lot of adept harassment because of the faraway third here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's like I always play like always make like 6 adepts. I think sometimes I split them up. It's yeah, I think it's very good to always make it do some sort of adept harassment.
Okay.
Also, one thing you can do on this map almost or like on almost every map is go into the main middle Oracle, get like 2 kills, and then get out.
Gotcha.
Because I've been doing this a lot. Like you can just camp it in the back of the base. You can go back in for stasis and stuff. It's really it's very good, I think.
Okay. And since I might not remember, since we might skip PvT here, what are your thoughts on the Raven harassment opportunities in PvT?
I don't know. It's pretty strong, I think,
Yeah.
because like the problem with Raven is they always come in from like a random angle, and even if you have, like, let's say you play Blink, you almost always leave like a couple stalker at home for, I don't know, it's like some random harassment that comes in, like the Raven. But unless you're in position, they always come in, they drop a turret, and then they fly into the dead space between bases, and then it's insanely annoying. So I don't know. It's the Raven is a bit tough actually to play against now, especially with Blink openings.
Yeah, seems to be great for you in PvZ, but then sucks for you for PvT. Dead space.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So what are you checking for at this point in the game?
Well, not too much really. You kind of just I mean, right now I'm not doing anything actually. I should be checking for queen walks and stuff like that. Probably also how many gases he takes.
Okay. Can you lay out what each gas count would dictate?
Well, there's like, I mean, if they go like 8 gas pretty quickly, it usually mute us, for example, or Lurker, like quick hive and stuff. So, like you almost always want to check the 4th base eventually for the gases, and because it's kind of hard to scout for the tech against Zerg because they have queens everywhere and you need to commit your oracles in. So it's always good to check the gases around the bases, and then you see, okay, it's 8 gas. I'm gonna make like I'm usually making like blind Phoenix against 8 gas because I'm like, okay, it's gonna be mutas anyway.
Gotcha.
I guess you have to check the main base for the lair as well, but yeah. And then some Zergs play like 4 gas, which is more. But like 4 gas is more of like a +1 melee opening, where like they can do like some timings like Roach, Ling, Bane over 4 gas, which is also pretty strong. And well, Cyril plays more normally. He plays like 6 gas, a very old school playstyle, very solid.
Okay.
But yeah, as I said, like Sarah plays a lot of Lurker lately. I think because like I've been killing him a lot with like Archon Disruptor kind of armies.
Okay.
Because like the Viper is a bit worse against that stuff, and you can pick up your Disruptor with the Prism when they yoink it. So he might go away from like Ravaging Bane into like Brute Lords a bit. I guess also the maps aren't great for late game in general. So opening with going Lurker first and then Brute Lords is maybe that's what this thing is now.
Not good for late game for who?
For like Zerg.
Wait,
Because like as a Zerg you kind of want as a Zerg you want like all the bases to be close together.
Sure, yeah.
So like if you play Brute Lords, it's you can defend, like you split one part of your army and then the Brute Lords and a little bit of other stuff defends the bases. But almost none of those maps have enough bases that are easy to take if you play Brute Lords, that it's very difficult to play. Because as a Brute Lords you can kind of just stay on ground, split your army in two, especially if you have Storm. It's super hard for the Zerg to get bases up.
Yeah.
So that's why they play Lurker and then they go into Brute Lords afterwards, because Lurker is a lot easier to take more bases and stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. I think I just kind of missed that transition period. Okay. Because to me, it sounded like you said they go Brood Lords, but it's bad for late game Zerg. I was like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, the Brute Lords are just bad on some maps.
Okay.
When you like rush into them.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. That makes sense. And despite the map pool having more bases than any other map pool, I believe, the way they are laid out, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like more bases is usually better for Protoss, I think.
Okay. It just is matter in the spacing of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair enough. And you said the Viper, the Viper change actually does make a impact for you?
Yeah, like if you play Disruptor, it's like previously you had 2 Viper and they would just yoink 4 Disruptor immediately. And now they at least have to wait a little bit in between. Like I've noticed it's actually a lot nicer to play against, even though initially I thought it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
But I was mostly thinking of late game PvC with like carrier and stuff, but surprisingly enough against Disruptor it's a bit nicer now.
Cool.
For the Protoss.
All right. Good to know. And how about that threat change for the carrier? Have you noticed any weakness or strength added to the Zerg late game for that?
Well, Zerg late game is kind of busted, honestly. Because like the thing with the Corruptor was you had to one-shot or like focus down units, right? So you had to focus down every single Voyager, every single carrier. And if you have like 40 Corruptor, you're overkilling, like half of your Corruptor are overkilling.
Yeah.
Like now what you can do is you just fly in, you A-move, and you have 40 Corruptor all firing now. It's like such a massive... like it's so much more damage output now.
Yeah.
It was like I'm actually very upset about it because I was like in the balance council I was kind of talking about how that's gonna be the case, and I wanted the Corruptor to get nerfed a little bit, but the Zerg players weren't a fan of it, so I don't know.
Zerg Cabal.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I heard a decent amount of discussion about that. I think I asked like a couple other streamers while they were streaming, and yeah, it kind of went back and forth where they were like, well, this opportunity might be stronger. Well, but then you do this already, so I don't know if it's that much stronger. The
only good thing is, most Zergs they don't play late game anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. And like personally, I also don't play late game because I'm like, okay, it doesn't work anyway. So like I've had a couple of late games against several, like yesterday and today, we just go like 40 minutes or whatever, and it's never like I don't know, it just never feels like I have any chance to win a fight.
Okay. Yeah. That's gonna be tough. I think you're absolutely right, because I think one of the kind of counter arguments was the pros are already stacking their corruptors to target fire carriers anyway. But you're right. Like if they were doing that, then they were overkilling. So now they do just get they still want to focus fire to a certain degree, but yeah, we might just see that in effect, whether or not the Protoss wants to be in that position.
Yeah, it's like when you get a fight and you can do that and you just move your Corruptor, you're gonna trade way better. Like I've tried it a bit in the unit tester, and it makes a big difference actually. Like you can survive with like a 10 more Corruptors or with the same. Like, I don't know what it was like. It was like 40 Corruptor against like a certain amount of carrier. I think I can't remember exactly what I tested, but you would survive like a lot more corruptor, just
Yeah.
a moving compared to targeting down stuff.
All right. Well, we'll see how that plays out. Brief thoughts on PvT. Anything changed?
Actually, really quick before
sure, go ahead.
for PvZ stuff, have you been noticing any differences with like the creep spread for PvZ? Like that last game,
No.
for example. No.
No, it feels exactly the same.
Okay. That's
It's like Zergs never spread that creep immediately, besides the first
Yeah.
ones maybe. So it's like it feels like literally exactly the same.
Okay.
fair enough.
So yeah, any changes in PvT that you've noticed?
I think the meta stayed mostly the same. It's just like Terran build orders are a bit better now with the Raven, because they can save some gas and some build time as well. So some builds they just have like quicker stim now or like a quicker tank or whatever. So I think like especially stuff like 4-gate blink. I think Terran has like the build order is better now for Terran, I think.
Yeah.
But the maps are way worse, so it's still kind of good 4-gate blink. But like other than that, it's mostly the same, except that Protoss is a lot worse in like macro games, I think, with Disruptor being nerfed. Like it feels like if you play against a Terran who splits the army in two, kind of like the Koreans do a lot, it feels a bit difficult now to get like good hits off.
Okay.
Because like you oftentimes like you shoot the Disruptor and then maybe they clip like one or two units, like a Marauder or a Ghost or whatever, but you don't get it as much anymore, I feel like. So I'm not sure. Also the overcharge nerf is also a bit noticeable with just like 2 base timings. Because with the Raven being better as well, or like cheaper or whatever, they hit like slightly quicker sometimes, or with like a little bit more stuff. And then you also have a nerfed overcharge and nerfed Disruptor if you use those for the defense. So it's the 2 base timings are also a bit scarier, I think.
But how about that speed for the Sentry?
It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. So it's just getting more difficult. That's unfortunate. Go ahead, Fear Dragon.
Has the Raven like changes and stuff? Has it decreased or affected like desire to go for like the fast Robo Colossus openings at all?
I think like when it comes to interference matrix, they don't really have more of them, because usually when they push, even on like the previous patch, they would have 2 interference matrix ready, and now they still have 2 ready. So it's not too different. I mean, maybe there are some builds where it might be different, I'm not sure, but from what I've seen, it's kind of the same. So I don't think you're gonna see less Colossus because of it.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, there's that.
Did not know that.
All right. EMP late game effect at all?
Oh yeah, like the EMP actually you notice a lot as well.
Yeah.
It's I think the difference to like the Disruptor is just that EMP they still hit stuff. They might hit a little bit less, but it still like hits most of the Protoss army if you have 10 ghosts or whatever. But it's you can definitely notice it. Like I think the nerf is like it's a pretty big nerf actually.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And the maps you said, I didn't quite catch that. So they're good or bad for Protoss?
In PvT?
Yes.
I think some of them are very good, like altitude, because it's so big, like it's almost impossible to do any sort of 2 base timing that's gonna do anything for Terran. But then you also have maps like Babylon and what was the other one?
Dragon Scales or Royal Blood? Dragon Scales. These are the short one.
Right, yeah. I'm trying to think like
Royal Blood is shorter. How about that?
Yeah, it's I'm undecided, let's put it like that. I think some of them are good and some of them are pretty bad.
Okay. And then a controversial question here. People have noted that Protoss do not have a good win record on any of the maps in any matchup.
Surprising.
Have you seen that, and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I saw it. It's like 35% or whatever.
Yeah, out of 311 pro matches.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, it would be interesting to see what the win rate was before, because it's like mostly the ESL Open Cups, and if you get like Hero Marine and Clem, whatever, making the final most of the time, then I guess it's just gonna be how it is. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like to me personally, the patch doesn't feel that bad in the patch as well. So I'm a bit surprised it's that low.
Yeah. Well, last map pool, you guys didn't have any winning map against Terran. So
Right. Yeah.
So, same old, I guess. PVZ also seems, yeah, but you're right. Like it is not truly indicative, just because of the way that the open cups in particular balance out. So, but I just had to ask the controversial question. And then now we can talk about your groups and your kind of expectations going into Katowice. I do kind of want to start off just because I do the open cup, so I know this. Clem isn't doing so hot against Protoss right now. Have you picked up on any reason as to why that is?
Well, when I played him, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he just didn't play like Clem at all. Like it was like I was playing against I don't know, Spirit or so. He was playing so defensive, going for late game, which is like completely unlike him.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched his other games too much, but yeah, I don't know. He just felt a bit off.
Like lacks confidence.
Yeah, it's like usually he's always in your face and he's dropping mines everywhere and he's like super annoying. But when I played him, he was just like sitting there passively, triple CC openings, doing nothing. So I don't know. I mean, if he lets me get into a late game, I'm always happy. So I don't know. Maybe he was just trying out stuff, or
I don't know.
I think he's very good, but I don't know.
Yeah, he was doing some really weird stuff. I noticed he didn't sign up for yesterday, which for him was a bit odd. So I wonder if he's buckling down or something, or taking a chill pill. Either way.
Nope.
Then let's go ahead and just focus on your group. So you have a lot of PvP. What was your first reaction to being placed in this group?
Happy, but also a bit unhappy. Because I think it's the easiest group I could have gotten into.
Okay.
But I'm not too happy about PvP. Like, especially against Astrea. Like, I've lost the last 2 events to him, actually. Like, Home Story Cup in Atlanta, I lost to him. I don't even know much about Crater. He barely played recently. But, yeah, I think, like, I was happy with the group. Because if I took my seed and switched myself with, like, the other... I think I'm, like, 5th seed or 4th seed? I don't know. It would have always been a worse group. So it's the best group I could have gotten into. I just hope I can kind of fix my PvP for Katowice.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Group C would have been tough if you swap it to your G. Group D would have been very tough.
Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah.
Group A might not have been too bad for you think?
Who was in that group? Like Neep and...
yeah, Clem,
Goodness.
Dark,
Time.
Ragnarok, Neeb, Time.
Yeah. I mean, Ragnarok would have been nice having a good time against him when I faced him, but I don't like playing against Dark. I never feel like he's super good, but he just, I don't know. He just does weird shit and kills you.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know. It would have been a decent group as well, yeah.
And then speaking of doing kind of weird shit, what do you think about Gumiho?
Yeah. I don't know. He's annoying for me to play against because he likes opening Cyclone a lot. And I like opening Stargate, so he's already countering what I like to do. Which is a bit annoying for me, but... I think out of the Korean Terrans I could have gotten, he's the most comfortable for me, anyway.
Yeah.
It's just he does, yeah, kind of like off-meta stuff, and that's difficult, especially in tournaments. If you have to come up with like stuff on the fly, it's always difficult, but... Yeah, I don't know, I'm not too unhappy about playing against him.
Okay. And then you're feeling okay against Raynor?
Yeah, I think so. Like, Raynor actually... Honestly, I don't think he's very good right now. Like, I know I got 3-0'd in that one ESL Open Cup final, but... I completely destroyed him with my Oracles, my Adept Harassment, which usually doesn't happen at all. Like, usually he's one of the best at defending Oracles and Adepts. He's always on point. Like, he's a bit like Cell, where you can barely find any damage. And I got so much damage that I thought I was playing against Elasa, who, you know, always skips the spores and queens are like randomly everywhere. So I'm not really sure how good he is right now, but if he plays like that at Katowice, I think I'm very happy about it if I face him.
Yeah, the only reason I go, is because he did this the past 2 Katowices.
Right, yeah.
So
might just be pretending.
Yeah, we'll see. Any questions about the group, Fear Dragon?
On the Gumiho note, you mentioned like the cyclones and stuff. Is that like based on the cyclone stuff from like last patch or the current cyclone? Because I know that it does less damage versus armored now, right?
Yeah. The cyclone now is worse than before against Protoss.
Yeah.
But no, it's just like he likes to open cyclone for whatever reason. He always like does that, and but yeah, it has nothing to do with the patch. It's just
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a very good question. And then let's start with round of 36. Do you have the Wikipedia page open?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Then who do you think is gonna make it through? 4 players.
Honestly, it's so hard to say. Like I haven't seen the Koreans much at all. It's I think it's actually very difficult to say. It's like I haven't seen Su in forever and Young as well.
Right.
Classic has actually looked better recently than he has been in some time. I think the top is probably gonna be like a Laser or Classic, maybe Scarlet. And then the bottom bracket, I think, should be Cure. Like I'm actually surprised Cure isn't in the group. He's so good. I don't really know how he ends up in the round of 36, but I think Cure should go through the Ore Zone. Zone is actually very good in PvT, I have to say. So maybe one of those two.
Yeah. Okay. I think those are solid picks. Pretty sure that's what the others have said. And then I just asked about like, is Nightmare kind of being slept on again?
Well, I don't know. Like Nightmare's, he's a bit of a wild one.
Sure.
I don't like. He's not super high level, but he's dangerous in every matchup. I think. Like I think he's like 6'4" or so in Korea, maybe 6'5". So he's like when it comes to like the good Korean Protoss, not quite in the same level, but he just plays super aggressive and he's very decisive. I think so. He, I don't know. He's dangerous. I don't think objectively he's super good, but yeah.
Okay.
It's not bad either.
And any thoughts about some of the like dark horse picks? Anyone playing particularly well the past couple of weeks that we might not know about or realize? And who do you think is gonna get that top 4?
I think Spirit could make it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Like yesterday he was he did what 2-0 Reyna and 3-0 Hero Marine.
Yeah, he was playing amazing.
And he's practicing a lot, I think.
Yeah.
He's like kind of like the Terran practice partner for everyone. So
Right, yeah.
he
Shout
gets a
out
lot of
Spirit.
practice and yeah. I think he could make it. I think he made it out last year as well, right?
He did, yes.
And he has not the worst bracket. Like Haas into Zaun. Okay, Zaun is tough, but I don't know. I could see Spirit make it out as well.
Yeah. How about for the overall tournament, like groups included?
Well, it's gonna be the Zergs, I think. Like realistically speaking, I think Hero is the only Protoss who can really have a good run. I think Maru is probably the only Terran who can have a good run. And then for Zerg, yeah, Zerl, Reyna, Dark. I think they could all make top 4.
The usuals.
Maybe even Solar, I don't know.
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. Bit of a tough group.
But yeah, I think.
Okay.
I guess out of my group, there's gonna be at least one Protoss advancing as well.
Well, TBD could be a Zerg, and then no. I mean,
We don't know this.
I would be sad if all 3 Protoss on the bottom, but yeah.
it's not.
But yeah, I think like Hero, like from a Protoss perspective, I think Hero is the only one who has a realistic shot at making like top 4 or something like that.
Right. It might just be the case. All right. Any last notes? Anything you want us to be mindful of when casting you, or anything cool?
Not really, I think. I don't know.
Okay. It's okay. You don't have to come up with something. Any last questions, Fear Dragon?
No, I think I'm good.
Cool. All right. And thanks for staying a little bit extra showtime. Appreciate
Yep, sure.
the insight and just drop me your PayPal info.
Okay, will do.
All right. See you later.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye.